So as much as possible, I will be doing videos off script as to train myself in being fluent verbally, especially in front of the camera, because I want to learn and get used to speaking in front of the camera without stuttering. Because a quick history lesson from myself is that I often stutter a lot, which is a mannerism that I would like to minimize and possibly remove in my verbal speaking and mannerism. And of course, I hope that it does translate well in speaking from another person or another individual, as I will be doing my thesis defense this coming Friday. So, in this video, I'll be discussing my nucleus overload story, which would be retelling my history of which would be retelling my training history, my background, and my building base, in which grew, and what I've built throughout my training history and fitness journey, and how I will relate this to nucleus overload training as coined by Team 3D Alpha. Megan, his name. We'll link his YouTube channel in the description down below. Before I even heard or knew of that terminology, I have some experiences with this kind of training methodology. More specifically, my strongest point in my physique, which would be my chest and possibly even my triceps. Although I've noticed some few imbalances, most especially my right tricep is stronger compared to my left, which ironically I am a lefty, and probably also my uh, left front delt is particularly weaker compared to my right. Probably they correlate this to possible injuries in the past. I've had some nagging pains and possible impingement in my left shoulder, but as I've stated earlier, my strongest points would be my chest, my abs, and my triceps, which I will be telling why this would be the case. Because my my very early training history is I've done calisthenics. I was a calisthenics bro during my I started in 2014, 2015. I've been just doing calisthenics in every corner of every room in our home. As I was doing some research on how to get bigger without equipments and how to work out at home. And most especially, I was very insecure because I grew up skinny. And the fact that I got hit by puberty, I grew vertically but not horizontally. So genetically, I was skinny, but that didn't stop me in pursuing the physique that I want to achieve, which I want to have a bigger anterior muscles, more specifically the mirror muscles that they want to look attractive they want to look attractive for the opposite gender or whomever they prefer to. That's on them. But point being, I was aiming to have a bigger chest and possible bigger arms and a more defined, prominent abs. So what I did was I researched on how to grow chest at home, and every everything that came up on the search feed was, oh, do push-ups, do dips if you're not strong enough, do chair dips, which I actually did compared to push-ups because obviously I never had any experience in weightlifting, let alone calisthenics. So I was very weak and doing at least one push-up. I remember being so frail and weak that I thought my elbows, I was injured because I could hear some snapping in my elbow. So the push up was gone. Then I tried dips, like dips where the normal dips where you do it in parallel bars. Of course, I was also weak. I almost got myself injured. Then I switched to chair dips where you'd be on a nine. You'd look like a letter L. Then you'd place your hands behind you in whatever edge or ledge you'd let yourself into. In my case, I do it in chairs on the edge of my bed. And from then on, I did it consistently and I made some progress. The first time I did that, the dumps were excruciatingly painful. Like I cannot get up at my bed without getting like painful cramps in my chest and even my arms. No, surprisingly, even biceps. I don't know. I just remembered being in miserable pain. Like most, if I bend my elbows, like even like the elbow pain is so unbearable. Like uh, how I wish I could explain it to you by words, but from that point on, my appetite increased. I was getting into bed early on as my body would like to respond that I should take care of myself more. So from that point on, I got consistent in doing dips of chairs and the side of my bed that people would look at me like like I'm a very weird guy, most obviously because I also tend to do this on public places. So when I got stronger at chair dips, um, what I did was, okay, so the chair dips are so easy for you now. Let's try some. Let's try something new or something very challenging. Variation that would help me grow as big as I want to. So what I did was the good thing that also came up with what I thought was a good idea is I never stayed at one exercise variation because for one I stagnated, and if you stagnated that means you got stronger and you have to move on. Then I move on to push-ups, and my stupid self didn't even consider that I should do a knee push-up first, but instead I did a full plank push-up, and it was one of the worst but at the same time uh, best moments in my fitness journey because it taught me how to be consistent. It taught me how to never give up in progressing, and in turn, I grew physically, obviously, and mentally because my original goal was to do one set, one row of 100 push ups with no rest or no stopping. So, ironically, this goal, which I still haven't accomplished to this very day, which I'll probably do for the sake of YouTube content, and I'll probably do it some other time after my thesis defense. 100 set of 100 push-ups. Um, that set up the word that fine that I am trying to speak and deliver it. That set up the foundation of what my strong point in my physique even right. It set up what my strong point in my physique has been, that that goal that I was trying to achieve ironically got me my most strong and best muscle part in my physique till this very day, which also ironically made me look make me look make my physique look in balance, so to speak. So from one push up, I actually from because the good thing about being a novice is you get to have newbie gains, strength wise and muscle wise. The bigger you get, the likelihood that the likelihood that your muscles also tend to get stronger, if you get my point. So a bigger muscle has a higher chance of becoming stronger. So the newbie gains help me get stronger, just weeks in do me and progressing doing just one push up. Then from one push up I did 5 push ups. Also the good thing about my stupid self back in the days is, of course, as I've told you, um, I want to have the mirror muscles develop as quickly as possible. So what I did is I researched on how to get bigger chest and bigger abs at the same time. So if I could find that specific video that I used to follow back when I was a beginner, he introduced me to the idea of supersets, probably low key gentleman split by natural hypertrophy. Is what I would do is I do a push up, then I do it to failure, then I would sit or I would lay down on the floor and do ab crunches. Then I do after I do those ab crunches, I do another set of push ups. If I cannot do one more rep of push up, then I do another exercise. Let's say probably leg raises or bicycle kicks and so on and so forth up until failure, if I could recall what I used to do. But that the thing that what I used to do back then is what Megan from Team 3D Alpha would like to refer as nucleus overload training. I won't go to the specific scientific details because I am not qualified and I don't think I could explain it properly to you. Just visit Megan's YouTube channel, Team 3D Alpha. He has almost numerous videos talking and explaining what nucleus overload is and how can you apply it to your current workout program. Basically, it refers to metabolic training, which would encourage muscle hyperplasia as opposed to muscle hypertrophy. From what I could understand, muscle hypertrophy is the most common way of growing your muscles. So your muscle cells get bigger, but as opposed to muscle hyperplasia, you actually increase your muscle fibers via satellite cells. So correct me if I'm wrong in the comments down below if you managed to watch this video up until this very minute. We're 17 minutes up. Um, basically, basically the nucleus overload training methodology is high frequency, high volume, and and sometimes even high intensity. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. If you know the whole ideology of nucleus overload, and from that point on, I was doing it at a consistent daily basis. What I just told you, I do a set of push-up until failure, then I switch to an ab exercise variation, then I do another push-up, then so on and so forth. So that pretty much sums up how I got to have overdeveloped chest in my own standards, because I've got guys at my gym who have probably better chest muscles if they just if they decided to have a cut, because the bigger guys at my gym is on bulk mode 24/7, and that's why they look so big. Like, a quick story is I've always wondered why the bigger guys at my gym have probably better developed chest if they decided to cut, because they're on bulk mode 24/7, and all they do is bench press variation, and they get big with only just doing horizontal presses. I know this is not me coping, or this is not insecurity. I'm just saying they probably would have I'm sorry, a more better looking physique if they decided to cut and do more exercise variations and so on. So that would be the story. This nucleus overload story. I would also do a separate video on my abs and my triceps, and I would like to incorporate this training methodology on my weak points, more specifically my shoulders, my biceps, my forearms, and my upper back, most especially my traps and lats, because I would like to attain that silver era bodybuilding physique, which would emphasize more of the V taper and possibly even, and of course, being inspired by Coach Paris Butler, aka Bald Omniman, have uh, I would like to have a 20-inch arms till the day I die. So that would be the concluding verdict in this nucleus overload story. Is how I got how I got to have overdeveloped um, how how I got to have overdeveloped chest muscles, which is one of my strongest point in my physique. I've actually received compliments from newbies and beginners at the gym I am working out in. They're asking me for advice in how to grow a bigger chest, and you know what I would like to, and you know what I will answer to those questions, which is do a lot of push-ups. So that would be it in today's video. If you managed to watch and finish this very, I would say very boring, but very informational video about myself, just leave a like in this video, subscribe if you haven't or not, comment down below if you would like to, and of course comment what kind of topics you would like me to discuss and dissect in the future weeks ahead. Comment down below if you have any experience with this supposedly quote unquote nucleus overload training methodology. And that would be it. So, thank you for watching and have a good day.